Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to tell you the story of how I started a business at age 15. So as you read probably in the title, I started a cake business and now it is known as Cari's Creations because my name is Cari. So I recreate cakes and cupcakes, and I've done a cookie cake, but mostly just cakes and cupcakes for the people in my town. And the most asked question I have gotten from people about this is, how did you start to do this? How did you learn to make cakes like that? And I really learned from YouTube. So that is the broad answer, but now I'm going to go into a little more depth of how I started my little journey. So I started sometime in 8th grade. I was 15 years old, and it was just simply by going to the store and seeing a cake box that had, it was like one of the cakes with fondant. So if you don't know what fondant is, it's the hard icing that looks really, really smooth. And I was like, what is that? And how did they get that so smooth? And my mom's like, oh, I think that's called like fondant or fondue. Like everyone always calls it fondue. She's like, I think that's like fondant or something. It's some kind of icing. She's like, we can get it if you want to try it. And I was like, yes. So we got it, took it home, and we made a little cake. And if I can find the picture to put on the screen, I will, but last time I checked, I couldn't find it. So I made this little cake. It was about like this big around, and I just like cut out little flowers. So I cut out flowers of different colors, fondant that I got, and I put them on the cake. So I was pretty like impressed of how it looked because it was so smooth, because fondant is very, very smooth. And I was like, wow, I made that little thing. And I probably, how this happened, I think I like posted it on Facebook. So I posted it on Facebook, or my mom and dad were showing people that I made this little cake. And the lady that I babysit for, which also works at my parents' office, she was like, oh, you can do Emily's cake, which is the little girl I babysit. So then Emily was like 4. So that summer I ended up doing Emily's 4th birthday cake in like Minnie Mouse theme. So I'll put the pictures up here now because I do have those. So that was the summer before I was a freshman. I made that little cake. I made the little cutouts of Minnie Mouse and made the little bows. How I did that is just YouTubing. I googled and YouTubed like how to make bows, how to make Minnie Mouse, and you know, there's a lot of simple ways that you can go about this. Like you can just cut out a shape bow, but I wanted to go the hard route and I made real bows with fondant. And I was really impressed with myself that I did that. So obviously when I saw that I could do that, I was like, wow, like I can do this. What else can I do? So after that, I posted that on Facebook. People were like, wow, you made that? People were very impressed because I was 15 and I was making this little Minnie Mouse cake and cupcakes. And so people were impressed, and I don't remember like my next order, but I started getting these little orders here and there. Most of them were like from my friends, like, oh, you could make my cake, kind of probably like a joke, but I was like, okay, like yeah, I'll make the cake. So I made little cakes for my friends for their little parties here and there. And then I also made my own cake for my 16th birthday, and I made a few other cakes. I would just share these on Facebook. They would get shared. People were really impressed with them. And it's not that they were super, super good, because they were good for a 15, 16-year-old. But like now I look back and I'm like, wow, I could have done a lot better. But obviously you need some experience. So I started there. At that point, I wasn't calling it a business. I wasn't calling it Cari's Creations or any of that. It wasn't until my senior year that I started calling it Cari's Creations. And I started calling it that because I was in a class and me and my best friend, we had to make something, like we had to pretend to sell a product. So I was like, well, I actually do sell cake and cupcakes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a page for that. And I wasn't really like, I thought maybe it would help me in the future, but I never thought that that would be like my main source of getting customers. So I created that page like in high school of my senior year, created that page, uploaded all my cakes that I've made onto it, started inviting people to like it. People liked it, and then when I would upload to that page, they would see it on my feed, and that helped people see all of my cakes and share them from there. And then the big part of that is when they would see it shared, people could click on my page and see that where I was from, all of my past cakes, what I could do, and then they would send me a message, hey, could you maybe do this, and give me a price of how much you would charge. And I was like, okay. And really I charged really cheap at first. Obviously I didn't know how much you charge for cakes or any of that, but anyway, so I did that. I started getting more business. I started doing a lot of birthday cakes. Like, that is the majority thing that I do is birthday cakes, and there's a lot of different things like kids, cartoons, all of this stuff. I can't even think right now, but I started doing also baby shower cakes, and I started learning how to like mold the fondant, make little creatures. And by creatures I mean like I made a monkey and an elephant and like a couple of zoo animals and put them on a cake. And I also I did a Winnie the Pooh cake, made the little honey pots for that cake. A lot of the stuff that I was teaching myself from YouTube or just from like Googling it and watching, like looking on a blog of how someone else did it. So I would look how someone else did it and recreate it myself. And honestly, that was the best way for me. So when my business started becoming a little bigger, I was like, wow, I want my products to actually taste really good so people will not only like buy them for the looks but for the taste. So I started experimenting with other kinds of icing. I started trying some other cake batters and all this stuff. So I ended up finding a really good buttercream recipe, and that recipe I still use today. It is my favorite. Like, all my family loves it, and everyone that I make the cakes for usually compliments that recipe. So I keep it all the time. I'm just keeping it forever because it is amazing. And I don't do as many fondant cakes because I do not prefer to do fondant. If they want fondant, of course I would do it, but I also figured out that Walmart's fondant that you buy does not taste super great. So I made my own fondant out of marshmallows, and my mom like found this recipe. We tried it and it was good. It tastes like marshmallows. Who wouldn't like that? So I started using that recipe. So I had a really good buttercream recipe. I had a really good fondant recipe that tasted like marshmallows, and my cake was really, I figured out how to get it really moist and really good so people love the cake, just soft and really good. So I figured all that out. So I started putting a lot of effort into decorating, and obviously the decorating is what catches people's eyes. So I would put a couple of my favorite cakes on the screen, and I just started learning how to use different tips, started how to learn different tools, and a lot of stuff like either my parents would buy me as gifts and presents, or I would go to Walmart and find these little random tips, rollers, cutters, like there's all kinds of stuff. And really I just learned all through that through YouTube. So after I figured out how much of an impact that my Facebook was doing, my Cari's Creations page, then I also made an Instagram about a year ago, and I started marketing through that. I started just showing all of my cakes, and people can message me through there, ask me prices, what I can do. Usually what people do, they send me a picture of something they want, like from Pinterest or anywhere else obviously, and they send it to me and say, can you do this? And I'm like, yes, usually. Sometimes I'm like, that's really hard, but usually I can do it, or I at least try to my best that I can, and I do that for them, and I give them a price that I think is best for the cake. And then last summer I finally ordered some business cards, which I will show you. So here's my little business card. It's really cute. It says Cari's Creations and then my name and the 2 addresses I live, which because I'm in college. So that's where it kind of does get tricky now that I'm in college. I can't really do a lot of weekends. So people will message me and ask what I have opened, or if I can do a certain weekend that they need the cake. And then I would do my best to open that weekend or come home. And I usually do come home almost every weekend for cakes. So that is where I am today. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, business cards, all, they really do help if you are interested and want to build your own business. So obviously they get the word out. I hope you liked it, and if you are wondering, I am 21 now, so I've been doing this 5, 6, yeah, I started when I was 15, so that'd be 6 years. But really the past 2 or 3 years have been my busiest. This past summer, literally had a cake like every weekend. So yeah, if you want to go check out my Facebook and Instagram, then I will put my Instagram name here and go check my cakes out. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really does support my channel, and also hit the subscribe button so you do not miss any future videos. And also, if you want to get notified to see my videos, then you can hit that little bell, the post notification bell, and then it will notify you every time I upload. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!